Breaking right now, an on-air crisis at GB News after one of its main contributors revealed live on air, or at least claimed live on air, that Doria Ragland had indeed gone to prison, which would suggest why she abandoned her daughter Meghan Markle for all of those teenage years, allowing her to be raised solo by her father Thomas Markle, who remains stricken in hospital, having been ditched by both women. Now, remember, this is an accusation that has at least been heavily hinted at before, including by Tom Bauer, who wrote the book Revenge on Meghan's previous life. At the same time, exactly what went down has been shrouded in secrecy. But Carol Malone just decided to go there on GB News, leading to an astonishing on-air confrontation with her left-wing Meghan Markle supporting rival. Watch this.
It's her compassion for the father who actually brought her up, who paid for her private education while her mother was in jail, who took huge care of her. And she's not seen him in the latter years. More importantly, I mean, she's not just seen him, she's like totally snubbed him.
When was her mum in jail? When was her mum in jail?
Years ago. Do you want me to give you the precise date, time? Because I haven't got it.
I've never heard that before.
Years ago. Anyway, she. But you know, this old gentleman now could be dying. Yeah. He needs to see his daughter.
Jonathan, let's just bring yourself in now. What's your take on this? To me, it reminds me almost of when we heard the news about King Charles with the enlarged prostate and people asking, will Harry come back to see his father? You know, is this other people's business, or should we just leave them to it? It's Meghan's decision whether she goes or not.
I thought we didn't know what the King's cancer was.
No, it was just an enlarged prostate. That's never been confirmed.
Sort of like this astonishing moment on GB News, Tash, where it's like everyone's freaking out because like potential truth bombs are being dropped here, there, and everywhere. But
maybe that's why she brought up the King's prostate, to try and change the conversation quickly.
Exactly. And it's also like he doesn't really, you know, he's made it clear he doesn't want anyone to know the details of his cancer treatment. Yeah. So, Doria, are we ever going to find out the truth, Tash, about what she got up to? Of course, both Lady Colin Campbell and Samantha Markle on special episodes here on Outspoken have revealed a lot about what was going on during those years, which did seem to include at least the proximity to drugs. What do you make of this new on-air claim?
Oh, I've got to be careful here, Dan. But I think it's obvious that Doria was away for a large amount of time, which would be consistent, say, with a prison sentence. I've also heard stories over the years that she joined a hippie commune, which is also believable when you think of Doria. She looks like someone that would be a hippie. She just decided she didn't want to be a mum anymore. You know, you do read stories like this. I mean, as I said, it's clearly obvious that she was away for a length of time. She does seem to have been around her daughter when she was younger, and then she got back involved when Meghan was an older teenager. You saw her at her graduation. So there is a big gap in between that I think would have been consistent with that. But at the moment, you know, it's speculation. I don't think it's going to be revealed, because I think if it is true, it would have been covered up. I can't remember, but I'm pretty certain that when these rumors first started circulating, they said that for Doria to have been flown over and been inside the royal palaces and being treated as a member of the family, if she had a criminal conviction, there is issues there. So I honestly don't know. There's so many stories that go around regarding this woman, but someone's obviously not telling the truth. And it seems there has been quite a big cover up. If she'd have joined a hippie commune, I think we would have heard more about it. I think there has been some sort of a patch job, because it wouldn't have looked good, the new Duchess of Sussex. Her mother's an ex-jailbird. So I think there has been obviously tweakage of people's information, but I'm not sure we're ever going to find out.
And I think probably the same applies to claims about a Meghan Markle sex tape. I mean, there have definitely been like topless pictures and some naked pictures and videos, which I had been shown in the past, which were part of that leak. But now a new clip, sorry, now an older clip is going newly viral, Tash. And this is from Kevin Blatt, a celebrity tape broker. And it is from the Your Mom's House podcast, where he describes, or at least claims, to have received a call in 2018 from a woman saying that she possesses a 4-year-old sex tape of Meghan about to marry a prince. So, of course, the implication is that it's Meghan Markle, although there is no confirmation of that. And it alleges that the tape involves oral sex filmed by a Florida photographer. Now, I want to show you what was said in this interview, which, Tash, is going newly viral this week.
I have seen that clip. I remember that clip actually going around, I think, the first time round. It's possible, isn't it? Of course, Meghan doesn't come across like she's been a shrinking violet her whole life. There are photographs which are not doctored, as far as I am aware, with her being on yachts. There are photographs that I've seen as well where she, these aren't the ones. There are some ones where you can quite clearly see it's AI, but she is on yachts with other beautiful young women. One of them happens to be Epstein's former girlfriend. There's a couple of photographs because they all knew each other. So, yes, is it possible there's something like that out there? Absolutely. Again, do I think that Meghan has had help covering up certain things from her past when she got involved with the royal family? Yes, I would imagine so. Are we ever going to find out the truth? I don't know. It depends who covered it up. But yes, I wouldn't be surprised. And that's not just because of my dislike of Meghan, but I think it's from what I understand of the parties she used to frequent, the sort of people she used to hang around with. I mean, Soho House is definitely a place for young, beautiful people to meet older, richer executives, people, if you scratch my back, I can scratch yours, that sort of, not all Soho House, but it's obviously a place where things like that do go on. So I wouldn't be shocked. But again, I don't think we're going to find out the truth. I think that's been locked away in a box somewhere with a key alongside whether Doria Ragland has done prison time.
Tash, there's been so much bizarre stuff PR-wise from Harry and Meghan this week. Clearly an unhappy couple, as we saw in the With Love Meghan holiday celebration. But I think one of the biggest oddities was this piece from People magazine. Now, we know People magazine is like the official mouthpiece for the Sussexes. I've said it for a long time, but confirmation this week that 20% of the website traffic for Was Never comes directly from People magazine. So, I mean, there's a symbiotic relationship between People and Harry and Meghan. They need to keep People sweet because it's sending potential customers to Was Never. And let's be honest, there's not many potential customers, so they desperately need it. But this article was totally bizarre. Let me just take you through it. The flurry of mini dramas underscores how the couple is still learning to navigate the Hollywood spotlight, after moving to the US in 2020. But friends say they weather it together. It never creates friction between them, a source tells People. They're fully aligned and always operate as a team. It never puts them at odds. While Meghan tends to dismiss outside chatter, what she herself calls just noise, Harry is known to take the commentary more to heart and remains especially protective of her. But Tash, utterly bizarre, given that what the headline reveals is that Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are needing a holiday reset. And it's as if this was almost like a preemptive strike. They knew that people were going to see the very awkward on-screen connection. They knew all of the other stories that were coming. So they're like saying, oh yeah, things are really bad, but honestly, there's no friction. I mean, why say that? Like, you don't need to say that when everything's good. You don't have William and Catherine, for example, briefing to British newspapers. Oh, they're really happy together. Honestly, everything's fine, because it's like, we know it's fine.
Yeah, that is a definite thing. And I think that's always been a bit of their downfall when even when they first became a couple, they had to be all over each other all the time, holding hands, even when they were meeting delegates and official events and things. I mean, it was just embarrassing, constantly those two pouring at each other and stroking each other and heavy petting each other. It was too much. So, of course, when they stopped doing that behavior, it became very, very noticeable. And now Harry and Meghan, all they seem to do is, I love him so much. Oh, no, oh, wait, I take that back. She never says she loves him. He loves me so much. That man loves me. You know, they have a picture of them kissing over eating fish and chips and stuff. And it's just sickly sweet, over the top. If you are just genuinely happy in your relationship, you don't need to constantly convince the world that you are happy in that relationship. It just works. And I think there is a desperation, an air of desperation for these two to make themselves seem they're more in love than ever before. And often when you see that with celebrity couples, it's the final death blow. It is the final attempt to make everybody believe that they're happier. And then a year, sometimes less later, you get the divorce announcement. They don't seem happy. That is a perfect photograph right there. They couldn't be more further apart, but don't worry, they're still holding hands. Harry looks like he's on his phone. Neither of them care about the kid that's just going into a pumpkin patch, sadly, all by himself. They're not connected as parents, let alone as husband and wife. That's one of the saddest pictures I've ever seen of that family, honestly.
Now, Tash, the figures are in, and we knew it was going to be bad, but they are worse than bad. Thank you to the Salty Duchess for this, who's always done great work. Look at this, Tash. Launch day for With Love Meghan, the holiday special, number 171. We're raised up ever so slightly for day 2, number 142. But the Salty Duchess said Netflix should know by now that even her sycophantic sucker squaddies can't save this car crash from herself. Her silly little vanity show ranking is beyond shocking. Queer Lips of Truth adding, it is finished. Meghan Markle is finished. Failure. And I mean, Tash, these numbers are utterly damning.
I mean, Dan, you watched it. It was bad. I mean, I've watched. Well, I lie. I didn't watch the. No, I did. I did manage to get through all of it in the end. This to me was the worst episode because it was Christmas, because it was festive. Meghan managed to ruin Christmas. I mean, we should start calling her the Grinch. She took the joy out of advent calendars, out of wrapping, out of, I mean, even the Christmas crackers. She took putting confetti in Christmas crackers. Nobody does that, Meghan. Why? Because it will go absolutely everywhere, all over your food, in your drinks. Don't do it. Your hostess will not be very happy. But it was really bad. And yes, it was awkward. I'd say there was more awkwardness in that episode than what I had seen in any of the others. She and Naomi Osaka had me wanting to put a cushion over my face like a horror film. Both Naomi came across as really lovely, but the friction, honestly, it was just painful. Those two women couldn't be on different planes if they tried.
More if they tried. Well, totally. And Tash, I was really taken by one of the moments that you picked out. You posted on X, Meghan was not impressed that Kelly, this is, the best mate, isn't it? Kelly's Ashvin, and her wreath got a compliment from the Netflix crew. And actually, when you look at the video that you picked out, Tash, it's really obvious. You're so correct. It's like she's massively thrown by that, isn't she? She's annoyed. It's like those two mates, and they obviously clowned around in the red pajamas together. They are only there to back her up. That's it. And she didn't like them stealing the attention at any moment.
No, she didn't. You could really see it. She was completely she didn't even look over at Kelly's wreath or anything. And I can't help but feel like a few people said as well, perhaps the Netflix crew was so sick of Meghan that they decided to wind her up. Oh, Kelly, we love your wreath, just to watch her reaction. She was the same on an episode with Daniel Martin, the crime makeup artist, when he made a little floral arrangement and he was getting compliments from the chef, David Chang, and then a few other people commented. And Meghan just walks away, just looks off like, you can just see it. She is that spoiled child that we saw wearing that fake crown at the kid's birthday party. She has to be the center of attention, and she did not like that one bit. It was definitely funny to watch, though.
And Princess Carparkle posted in regards to one of those moments that you spoke about, Tash, with Naomi Osaka, the tennis star. Meghan paints plates with Naomi, who looks like she'd rather be anywhere else. She must have owed someone a favor because they're almost 20 years apart in age. What could they possibly have in common? making crafts cringe fest. As Meghan's mole pointed out, Tash, this stupid idiot has never picked up a tennis racket in her entire life. You can tell by her spindly arms. But why did Meghan Markle mention tennis? Catherine is an incredible tennis player and has been playing for many years. Oh, it all makes sense, doesn't it? But she just couldn't stand Naomi Osaka, could she? Because Naomi Osaka is an actually successful woman with an actual talent playing tennis who has turned that talent into not a grift, but an actually genuinely successful career as a fashion designer for Nike of really interesting and daring tennis clothing. I mean, look, I'm no big fan of Naomi Osaka. I don't know much about her. But what was very obvious is that Meghan didn't embrace her like she embraced loads of the other sycophants on the episode, the weirdos on the episode. She viewed her as a massive threat.
It was that bit, funnily enough, the clip that you've just shown, you could see when Meghan was like, yeah, but my drawings aren't great and it's as good as, as me playing tennis. What she wanted then was Naomi to start going, but your drawings are amazing, Meghan. Like everybody has to do. Everybody on that show has to be that sycophantic with her. They have to praise her. And Naomi didn't. And then that's when Meghan dragged on that conversation about tennis. There's so many references when it comes to Meghan and the Princess of Wales. She's clearly obsessed. We only saw recently there was an artist that Catherine had got to design her Together at Christmas Carol pamphlet, the order of service last year. Meghan used that same artist on a recent post to do with her As Ever stuff, of all of the artists around the world that you could use. Meghan is so obsessed that every little thing that she says is going to be picked up by people now. People just look for it, and 9 times out of 10, people find it immediately. But yeah, that was a good catch. But yeah, she's right. Of course, Meghan would be now talking about tennis. I'm sure Archie will soon be playing tennis because Prince George plays tennis. And the obsession will carry on down through the children and getting the children to compete with the Wales children. That's why we saw them at that awful staged charity food prep place, wasn't it?
Exactly, for Thanksgiving. And by the way, if anyone served me the green wreath crudité plate, which Meghan gave Naomi Osaka, I'd be out of there. So no wonder Naomi was miserable with her. It's like, what? What? I've come to your house for Christmas and you've served me raw broccoli on a crudité plate? I'd be miserable too.
Yeah, there's no amount of chili oil that was going to save that dish, honestly. But don't forget, Dan, the amazing bit, the real festive bit wasn't just the broccoli or the asparagus. Meghan popped peas because it brings joy to people.
I know, we'd never thought of that, had we? Now, we spoke about Carol Malone at the top of the show, Tash, in regards to the fact that she had dropped this, prison bomb, the prison bombshell on GB
Carol.
News. Well, indeed. And you might say go Carol here as well, because I feel like what the Sussex squad are failing at these days are to keep trying to pin any criticism of their hero to racism. And it's something that worked in the mainstream media for a long time. I believe it's now trying to collapse. And I wanted to show you and sort of illustrate this collapsing in real time. And it came on the UK Jeremy Vine show. This wasn't hosted by Jeremy Vine. There's a fill-in host. But it's one of those shows, Tash, where members of the public call up. But they're usually planted, right? And this was clearly a Sussex squad plant. So clearly a member of the Sussex squad, right? Planted. But what was great is when Carol Malone was finally able to respond, she, in real time, live on air, just destroyed this idea that the criticism of Meghan had anything to do with racism. Tash, it's all they've got. And it doesn't work anymore, does it? Like, it did sort of work. It tricked the mainstream media, the regime media in 2020 and 2021. It don't work anymore. Like all of our horror and disgust, which by the way has been felt around the world about Meghan Markle doing absolutely nothing when her father has his leg amputated, like none of it's about race.
No, of course it's not. It always has been. It's always come down to character. I mean, Harry is another person that people just don't like because of the things that he's done. It's the way he's treated people. It's got nothing to do with the fact that he married a biracial woman. It's because Harry has turned out to be a complete and utter jerk. In fact, since Harry has stepped away from the prince he was born and the man he's become, as it turns out, he's not a very nice man. And he has also chosen a wife who happens to be not a very nice person. And I think a lot of people picked up on that in the beginning because you started seeing the shift in Harry changing. And I don't think now, I was one of the people that thought, oh, it was Meghan manipulating him. No, I think she emboldened Harry because of her terrible behavior. She nurtured that out of Harry. I don't think that Meghan tricked Harry into becoming this terrible person that's been awful to his family. I think Meghan literally watered the seed that was already there. And the more confident that Harry got walking away from his staff, his family, his advisors, and the more he listened to his wife, who quite clearly still treats people awfully, he's just started going, oh, I can treat people like this and get away with it. And that's why those two are two peas in a pod, and they truly do deserve each other. So I don't think that and I hope that they don't divorce. I hope they stay together because I don't see the point in them trying to ruin two other people's lives if they move on and remarry.
Two peas in a half-opened, joyous little festive pod on a revolting crudité platter of raw broccoli, which we don't want to eat. Tash, you're absolutely brilliant. I actually watched your review of With Love, Meghan, which I highly recommend. It's brutal. It's probably even more brutal than mine. To see that for much more analysis, make sure you subscribe to According to Taz on YouTube. And by the way, I love your Christmas deco.
Thank you, Dan. We have brought festivities to the Canal household.
You're putting
Lovely
me to
see you again.
shame. I'm going to have to
Yes.
sort
Where is
myself
your-
out over
Come
the
on.
weekend. I know.
Come on, Dan.
I'm the most
We need some
festive person
festive.
in the world. I've been so busy, but no, I'm going to have to sort it out over the weekend. I'm going to have to, but it's not going to look as good as
I'll hold you
yours.
to that
I
next week.
guarantee it.
At what point does coverage of Meghan Markle stop being journalism and start being a coordinated takedown operation? Because what happened this week didn't just cross a line. It obliterated it. Let's be brutally honest about what happened here. A major broadcast network went on live television and told its audience that Doria Ragland, a private citizen, a grandmother, a social worker, had been to jail. No verification, no sourcing, just stated as fact, live, to millions of viewers. That is not a slip of the tongue. That is a systemic failure of editorial standards. And here's the part that should genuinely disturb you. GB News didn't face the kind of immediate, institutional backlash that would follow if this had been said about almost any other public figure's family member. The silence from the broader media establishment is just as loud as the blunder itself. Now to the podcast making sex tape allegations. Let's call this what it is. Not reporting, not even commentary. This is gossip laundering. You take an unverified claim, you dress it up in a podcast format, and suddenly it feels like a news story. It isn't. There is zero verified evidence, zero named sources. And yet here we are, discussing it, which is exactly what that content was engineered to make happen. The Meghan Markle hate economy is real, it is profitable, and there are creators and networks making serious money keeping audiences in a permanent state of outrage about this one woman. Here's my bold take. The British media's obsession with Meghan Markle has nothing to do with accountability journalism. If it did, they'd apply the same energy to documented scandals with actual evidence. This is personal. This is targeted. And the fact that her mother is now being dragged into fabricated allegations tells you everything. They've run out of real ammunition, so they're manufacturing it. Doria Ragland never asked to be famous. She never gave interviews, never courted the press, never played the royal game. And she's still being used as a weapon. But here's the question nobody is asking, and I want you to answer it in the comments. If a broadcaster can state a false criminal record about a private citizen on live TV and face no meaningful consequences, who is actually next? Because Doria Ragland today could be your mother tomorrow. The infrastructure for this kind of damage is already built, and it is running 24/7. Think about that. Drop your thoughts below,